All right, let's dive into one of the most wonderfully chaotic shows ever, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. On the surface, it's just pure madness, right? But if you look a little closer, there's this really deep psychological message hiding in plain sight. We're going to unpack this idea that maybe, just maybe, all that chaos isn't really chaos at all. It's something else entirely. So let's just start with this question right here. I mean, when you're watching the show, everything feels so random, doesn't it? It's just this jumble of bizarre, nonsensical events that somehow link up. But what if that's not what's really going on? What if it's all just a trick of how we see things? Because here's the core idea of the entire show. What looks and feels like total chaos is actually alignment. It's a deep connection that's already working perfectly behind the scenes. We just can't see the whole picture yet. Okay, so this gets right into our first big idea, this illusion of randomness. And really, this taps into something so fundamentally human, our desperate, deep down need for control. We are just wired to look for patterns, to make sense of things, to create order, because that's what makes us feel safe. And this show, man, it just perfectly explores what happens when that core need gets completely thrown out the window. And this is pretty much the default setting for most of us, isn't it? It's perfectly summed up by one character, Todd Brotzman. He is basically all of us. He's that little voice in our head that's always saying, I have to figure this out. If I can just get control of this situation, I'll be safe. This needs to make sense. He's always looking for guarantees in a world that, let's be honest, doesn't give any. So that brings us to the central battle of the show, really. It's control versus trust. And right into Todd's super stressed out, meticulously planned life crashes this force of nature, Dirk Gently. He is the absolute opposite. He represents a completely different way of moving through the world. It's not about trying to control everything, it's about having this wild, absolute trust in how things are unfolding. And you can see the two mindsets laid out so clearly here. On one side, you've got Todd. He's all about logic. He's resisting anything that seems random. He's always trying to force things to happen. And what's the result? He ends up creating more chaos just by fighting it. Then you have Dirk. He's not looking for logic, he just believes in the connection. He's not resisting, he's literally following the flow. He lets things resolve on their own, and because of that, he finds peace. He's not at war with the universe, he's kind of dancing with it. So, sound familiar? Come on, be honest with yourself for a second. Which one of those columns feels a little more like you on most days? Yeah, for a lot of us, that Todd mindset, that constant need to control and resist, it probably hits a little too close to home. All right, so here's the big psychological twist. This is the real kicker the show illustrates so well. The chaos we see, it isn't actually some random external force that's just happening to the characters. No, it's an internal thing. It's something they're creating inside themselves and then projecting out onto the world. Let's just walk through how this happens. It's a cycle. Step 1, it all starts with fear. Fear of the unknown, fear that things won't work out. Okay, what does that fear do? Step 2, it creates this intense need for control. And then, step 3, to get that control, what do? We start resisting. We fight against the natural flow of things. And what's the end result of all that fighting? Step 4, that's what creates the feeling of chaos. It's the resistance itself. This really just comes down to the power of your mindset. When you're operating from a place of fear, everything looks random and threatening. It's all just disconnected pieces. But if you can shift into what you might call an abundance mindset, this belief that things are actually unfolding for you, not to you, suddenly nothing is random anymore. It's all just part of the bigger picture. So if we're stuck in that cycle of fear and chaos, what's the way out? Well, the show gives us the answer. We can call it the holistic mindset. This is basically Dirk's superpower, and it's the key to a totally different way of experiencing your life. So what is it exactly? At its core, the holistic mindset is just a deep, fundamental trust. It's the belief that everything is already connected. You don't have to strain and struggle to make the connections happen. They're already there. It's this deep trust that life isn't trying to mess with you. It's actually unfolding in your favor. And when you really start to think this way, your whole vibe just changes. You stop that frantic chase, trying to force solutions. Instead, you just kind of trust. You trust that the right opportunities will show up, that the right people will come into your life, that things will eventually resolve themselves. It's a huge shift from that stressful, constant forcing to something a lot more like peaceful being.
Okay, and this is where it all clicks into place. Because adopting this mindset, it isn't just some feel-good idea. It literally changes what you're able to see in the world around you. This really says it all. All that energy you spend trying to control every little thing, that's the very thing that's creating all your stress. And even worse, it's blinding you. It's preventing you from seeing the connections that are right there in front of you. It's only when you finally let go, when you choose trust over control, that you can finally start to see that web that was there the whole time.
And look, this isn't about being passive, right? It's not about just giving up and doing nothing. It's the opposite. It's about becoming so aligned with the flow that you start to notice things. You notice the synchronicities. You see the perfect timing. You bump into the exact right person. You find yourself in the perfect situation, not because you muscled it into existence, but because you finally stopped fighting and let it find you. That's the secret to living like Dirk gently. So I'll just leave you with this one last thought to chew on. You know that phrase, everything is connected? We usually hear that and think of it as, well, kind of a trap, right? Like we're stuck in a web we can't escape. But what if that's just our old friend, the fear mindset, talking? What if the connection isn't a cage at all? What if it's more like a river current, a gentle, guiding force that's just trying to take you exactly where you need to go, if you'd only stop fighting it and let it carry you?